Okay, so this song is a great example of Delta blues played fingerstyle. It's in the key of E, and it's a standard 12-bar blues. The rhythm's a mix between playing just on every beat, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and playing a shuffle, which is where you play on the and after a beat or before a beat. So it'd be like, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. The main beat is still the 1, 2, 3, but the and has a little pre-beat to it. And 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the song goes back and forth between these two rhythms. Palm mute, okay? So you use your palm, this part of your palm here, and you just rest it really lightly near the bridge, covering those strings just slightly that you're playing. So without it, it would be like this. With it, so it just makes it way cooler. It's a key thing to get down. And you can have varying degrees of palm muting. So you can have very heavily muted, and then bring it up a bit, off. And a key thing to make this song sound cool is going back and forth between the two. So there's a section that we'll get to where you're muting, and then you take it off. Open E string, then this classic blues bend, 3rd fret, and I use my middle finger on my left hand. And then the next note is that open A. With the bend, just practice like how far to bend it. If you don't bend it enough, it's not as dramatic, it's not as good. If it's too much, it just sounds off. It's that sweet spot. It's sort of like your E minor. It's the high bit of an E minor, this chord. And what's so bluesy about it is you're taking the E minor part. This note is what makes that E chord a minor chord. That one. And you're bending that up, because if you bend it up a whole half step, it becomes a major chord. E major. So bending a minor note, like the minor note of a chord, up sort of to the 3rd note makes it bluesy. This note you're sort of bending as well. Just bend them both. So to bend a string, I recommend, rather than just pushing up from the bottom, like your thumb is sort of around this area, and you're like curling your wrist in. Now with that slide, the first time we did it in measure 2 on line 1, we just slid down from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret. Here or all the way up here. So we got to do the slide from here. It can be kind of hard to hit that note, then come down, land there, and slide down all in time. So it doesn't really matter. You can slide down from any point between the note you've just played there, right? So you're hitting it with that, you're using that finger to fret it. Then that's the note that's going to do the slide. So as long as that, you can pluck the string anywhere, and you just got to land there. So you don't have to start the slide from the 3rd fret. You can start from the 4th, or the 5th, 6th, 7th, eighth. Doesn't really matter. You're just hitting it somewhere on your way down, and you land on that note. Okay. Now, in terms of just basic string bending technique, so you're using that finger to bend it up, but you use these other two fingers to support the bend. So the basic rule usually is every fret you put one of the supporting fingers, that's sort of like where to put them, and you use them to help with the bend. And it's a good habit to sort of get into. So rather than just, even though it's easy enough to just bend it with one finger, that gives it a bit more control, putting those two fingers as support. Okay? So, 1. All right, now, home stretch, we're playing what's sort of called a turnaround. So we're playing over that E chord, the 1 chord, but the lick we're doing is okay, it's a classic blues turnaround if you want to search for other turnarounds. So it's a really good one to use, and the way you play it, it's really simple. Because you're already on this E shape from the previous lick, right? All you do is move it up to the 5th and the 4th fret, and you're plucking, thumb plucks that 5th string, and your index finger plucks the 3rd string again, together. And then after that, I use my ring finger to pluck the open string. And then we walk that down. So pluck that chord with those strings, open, then move the shape down. Same strings, pluck again, down again. But you can hear at some point, he plays this high lick, and that's a sort of Robert E. Johnson lick, and you play that instead of the B down here. You can hear that it's the sound, it's the same sort of sound, but only it's up here.